Hey, how's everybody doing? Are y'all doing all right? So I downloaded this thing from this free model I got off the internet of alien terrain. I believe it was Sketchfab it came from. But I thought I'd do another one of these videos that I show you how to make a terrain out of it. I mean, it's not that overly impressive as far as like texture and all that stuff. It's pretty plain. But maybe some of you would like to make that into your terrain. Or maybe you would rather just use this as like a jello mold and pull the terrain block up to the surface and just use your regular terrain block. It is kind of got a texture on it. It's not the best looking texture. It's alright. It just kind of looks kind of, I guess that's how the aliens like it there. But I love the model. The model I like a lot. I like that. And it's pretty much going to do pretty well to be a terrain block because all the angles are all sloped. There are not really any concaved areas. They're all convexed, and the terrain block will do well with that. So what I would say do first, make a mesh cube. Because you need to scale this thing down to about the size of that cube. And the reason is, when you do a height map, well, you know what? I'll just make the shader now and show you. Before I scale it down, and you'll see what I mean. Make more sense that way. So we got to add a geometry node and add a converter. We got to convert the X, Y, Z. We'll basically separate the Z from everything. And then do a color ramp. And then do a shader and emission. And you'll connect the position to the vector, the Z to the FAC, the color to the color. And you have to connect it to a material output. So I'll just use the one for the regular material. Now, as you can see here, well, I did scale it down some, but before I scaled it down, you can see its size, right? You're supposed to set it down flat on the ground, right? So whatever you're making, make sure it's flat on the ground. Because if you see, once it gets in the ground, that's where the black begins. White is where the highest elevation is. But if you look at this, there's not a big gradient. This is a side view. The black is just there, and then it's like solid color. The only gradient is in that little space there. So if you want this thing to be completely gradiented to represent what it looks like, well, the only way I know to do it is to shrink it down. Unless there's another way to adjust the scale of that gradient, I don't know what it is. So I've been just shrinking them down so that the bottom is black, and then the gradient is, pretty much a linear thing. It's not abruptly cut off. So I'd probably give a pretty good height map right there. If you look at the top of it, just remember what's black. What's black is absolutely the flattest point, and what is white is going to be the tallest point. Now I'm going to lower it just from here, pressing G and then Z. I can raise it or lower it from this view, and so I don't want it to clip like that. I want it to have a good range there. Now you can also adjust in the ramp. You can adjust this stuff if you want it to have more contrast, but I find it really it's a case-by-case basis on how well that works. You may want to experiment with it. You can also add new nodes into there if you want it to do something a little different, closer to the black curve or to the white curve. See what I mean? You can adjust it depending on what it is you want. I don't do enough of these to really know the benefit of that. Now, here's another thing. You also got what's called the color easement. That's what I call it. I don't know what it's called. Really, I don't know what it's really called, but you got linear, ease, cardinal, B-spline, and consistent. Consistent is the on-off. It's either on or it's off. See, it's either on or off. That's what that one is. So that's not good for height map. And you got B-spline. You can see the gradient there. You got linear, which is what we had. You got cardinal. And then you got ease. Ooh, ease is probably the best one, ain't it? I don't know. Let's look at that one and look at linear. I think ease is a better gradient. Personally, I think so. Alright, now I'll just readjust it. Alright, so that's that. Do this before you render your texture, because if you render your texture first and then you go to render the height map and realize, oh crap, I forgot to scale it. I got to do that. Now you got to redo your texture. So going to a top-down view, you're going to make a camera. Add camera. And then from side view, you can press G and then Z to move it up. You can go over this tab here and tell it in view to toggle the camera view. Tell it to camera to view and then select the camera. That way what you do with the camera, when you move normally it takes you out of camera mode. See, you see the camera? But if you got it on and you're looking at the camera and you move it, you still stay in the camera. Does that make sense? Now all you got to do for this is go over to the data here and go to render first. If you want to do 4K or 8K, that's fine. I'm just going to do 4K for this. 8K takes so damn long to load everything. And then we're going to tell it to be black and white 16-bit color depth with no compression. Alright, now I'll go back to the camera tab. Now what you see in here is what it's going to render. Now if you want to adjust the area that it gets, you can adjust it with this. But you got to change the type to orthographic. Orthographic is like a CAD drawing, perfect top-down view kind of thing, you know. So you can adjust it by moving the shift. And then once you find what you really want, just render image. Then you'll save that image in the level that you want it to be in. Save as. So we'll put it in small grid. Let's see, levels. If you don't have the folder in here that you would like to be your you know what, I'm going to stick it in that one. That one's messed up, actually, the terrain. I don't know what happened to it, but it got messed up. So you'll save this as a height map. That's probably spelled wrong. I ain't paying attention. Save it as a PNG black and white 16-bit color. Color depth 16. No compression. If you do 8-bit, you're going to have a lot of stairs in your terrain, like Minecraft. Now, exit this and go back to your material thing, but this time run the primary texture to the surface here. Now, unless it is self-illuminated, then you're going to need to add a light. You could just run the base color into emission, or you could just raise it. You could just raise emission, but it's gonna make it really, what do you call it, washed out. It's different when you run it from the thing to it. Then it lightens it correctly, you know, when you brighten it or darken it. But it doesn't look like it makes a difference here, does it? Let me just try to render it. See what it looks like. All these things are a little different. If it's really dark, yeah, you'll see it's really dark. So while I had using Blender Kit and HDRI light, which lights it based on the lighting in the scene. And I'll just pick an outdoor scene that's outside, like the mountains. But not at nighttime, something during the day. And, you know, I'll go through a few of these, and you don't need a high resolution one for just lighting. You can go through a few of them and see how they make it look different under the different lights and decide which one you want to render. Maybe you want more of a, you know. Now this will be the primary texture too, so whatever you render here is what it's going to look like when you make your terrain block. That's about ugly there. Let's just do that one. I could sit here all day and not make my mind up. I've done it before. Oh, let's do that one. That's a good one. We'll do that one. What y'all think? Alright. Let me adjust the light. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. But I'm going to manually move the light a bit. Or actually, strengthen the light a bit. There we go. That's what I want. That's what I want right there. I'm going to close this. I'm going to move the light again to see. Maybe I can get some more. Like a long shadow, you know. That'd be fine. Alright. Render. This one, though, do RGB 8-bit with no compression. PNG. And you'll save this as your texture. Now 8K is a lot better than 4K. But man, it takes a long time to do anything with 8K. It's just crazy. Now we don't actually have a height map other than the height map we actually made. I could resave that as an 8-bit color grayscale, but we also don't have an ambient occlusion map, and we don't have a map for the normals. Now I'll come back to that. That's extra stuff. I'll see if I can figure out how to make a normals map from this. I mean, I pretty much know. It just takes more time. This is the bare minimum we need to make a texture for our terrain block. And if we got time, I'll come back and I will. I'm gonna load this. I might get up for a minute. Turn off the coffee pot. I forgot to turn it off. I still hear it clicking back there. So while this is loading, I'll be right back. Let's outrun. Turn that music off. that emitter. There we go. I'm going to save it because I don't want to have to load it every time I load this thing. This is another little work in progress map. If anybody played the old Outrun game at the arcade, and you know it well. My dumb ass, though, didn't pay attention when I started the level. This is the first level. If you look at the top of the map, look where I put it. That's an 8K map, I believe. Maybe it's 4K. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But you see the point I'm making? I could have put it anywhere, but I stuck it kind of like right there. So now I'm going to have to, for the next stage, make the thing wind around to go back. I should have stuck it at the bottom so like where you start, you know, it's all the way at the edge. Give you more room to do stuff. I wasn't thinking. I rarely think. I just do. I do because the force guides me, and that's what I do. Yeah. No, I just don't think about half the stuff I do. I just do it. Alright, let's get back to where our car is at. So you're going to go to your terrain tools and you're going to import terrain. It's okay if you already got a terrain, it's going to replace it. Set the maximum height. So whatever the maximum height of those mountains are in that alien world, well, set it to that, maybe go over like 20 extra meters in case you want to go a little higher. I'm just going to put 1,000. Now, I don't like using 1 square meter, pixel per meter. You know what? I just thought of something. I'm going to mess this map completely up if I do that. Let me make a... I already got it back up. I'm good. We'll be alright. I don't like to use 1 meter square. I like to do smaller. 0.5. It gives you more detail. Makes your paintbrushes smaller too. And then you pick the height map image. You'll pick that one that you saved. It will be red if you saved it correctly as a grayscale. 4096 by 4096 in this case. And then import. Now when it comes in, you're going to have a no material map, and it's probably not going to be where you think it's going to be. As you can see here, it is way over there. Why is it over there? I don't know. Because I probably got it offset. I thought that was a good spot, whatever it decided. But look, no, it put it at minus 4,000 by minus 4,000. Typically, it's minus 512 by minus 512 and 0 for the Z. It's typically where it's at. But it's alright. We can just work with it here. That's too high of elevation. Let's change it to 500. I said there'd be a no material on there, but I was wrong. Something wrong with this thing. Because it should have a no material. It don't even have that. The base texture size is correct for our resolution that we rendered. So we're just going to make a new material and we'll just call it, I don't know. We'll give it the ground model of something like dirt loose. I don't know. And name it. Save or add material. And once you add it to here, you can put in your base texture color. And that's going to be that colored image we saved. And then go ahead and duplicate that by copying and pasting it in the ambient occlusion slot. And then save changes. Now you should be able to go to here and add that terrain and remove the one that says warning material. Well, I guess it fixed it. And so you got an alien terrain. Now I probably could have done a smoothing on it, but you see that's not right. What's not right is I did not set the scale. If you rendered it at 4K and it's supposed to be 4K, then you got to set this to 4K. If you want it to be one picture per square, then it needs to match. Now there we go. Now that's more like it. Now if you get up close, it's going to be blurry. You know, that's just how the base texture is. Even at 8K, it's blurry. Not as bad as that, but it's still blurry. So if you want it to be better than that, what you'll have to do is add a macro or detail map. Macro and detail maps in this particular level are set to 2K. Now, I haven't picked any of the others yet to see what they are, but we're just going to go to the macro here and see if we got one that's already in here we can use. Those are 4K. Let's see if we got some other ones in here. Oh, I know all these aren't right. These are the old ones I made. Like when I first started making stuff, these are like those early generation. Look at resolution ain't even power of 2. Oh, these are 2K. So that's but I don't have the normal maps or anything to go with that, I don't think. Oh, I guess I do got some. So snow, we'll use this one. It's not really snow, but we'll use it. Snow D2. Snow base. Now you really should run a high pass filter over everything that you add. That is in addition to the base map, because they multiply one another basically. If you got if that's too dark, or if it's too vibrant, and you add another vibrant, that's going to make it overly exposed, looking like it's going to look like it's got too much color in it. But that should be good. So we'll use that one. Now I'm going to save time by copying it and then pasting it again, and then clicking on it, and it takes us back to the directory. If you don't do that, you can just paste this in every one of them. But if you don't, you're going to have to keep re-navigating back to this spot every time. That gets to be a pain in the ass. I don't like to have to keep doing that. So, I don't know if this got a roughness. Let's see. If I have to just recycle them, I will. Oh, there is a high pass filter. Ah, damn. I didn't even see it. Okay, good. I probably don't have a roughness, so I'm just going to stick one of these in there. And I'm going to replace this one with the high pass filter. High pass filter is in every photo editor. In GIMP, it's in enhance. Filters, enhance, high pass. In Photoshop, it's in there somewhere. Ambient occlusion map. We don't have one, so we will have to reuse one of these others. How about we use that one? These probably aren't going to look that great. But like I said, these are the old textures. These are the old ones I made for before PBR came along. I really didn't know much about textures then. I knew they were a pain in the ass. I knew that much. I get texture problems all the time. Even today I get them. Mostly now though it's typos. Get a lot of typos. Oh, that is an ambient occlusion. But I got so many damn snow bases, I'm not sure which damn one goes to which. You see, I got D1, D2, D. I made so many iterations of the same thing that there's no damn telling who goes to what. Oh, and adjust your scale for that, and then you can have a detail map. Once you save it, it should update in here. I should didn't. Or did it? I can't tell. It don't look like it did. Yeah, I don't see anything. Do you? The hell with this. I'm gonna go get a damn regular texture, folks. I don't trust my own old stuff, so let me go get a new one. Fab.com. For a limited time, you can get your free textures. Claim them now before time expires. And you too will have all the terrains you could ever need. Yep. Quixel Megascans can now be used in any engine. And there's so many to choose from. Yep, you'll never need another texture again in your life. After coming here, they got everything you can imagine. Let's do this rocky ground soil. So we'll get the 2K, since that's what it's asking for. It's 2K for the macro. And then we'll stick this into our level. Alright, now that's in there. If I didn't make it clear, I probably didn't. I did in other videos. You basically got 5 slots. You got 5 slots. Base, normal, roughness, ambient occlusion, and height. Each slot has its own base map. Each slot has its own macro map. And each slot has its own detail map, which are different from each other. But the base texture is what you see when you're far away, or if it's the macro, what you see up close, right? The normals is what makes it have that 3D look. The roughness, well, that's obvious. Ambient occlusion, that's obvious. And height, well, that doesn't really do a hell of a lot in here. But it fringes the outside edge of the terrain paint. That's about it. That's all I can tell it does. But anyway, that's all you need. Now, to just get by, all you really need for any of the slots, you got to have a base in there. You're not going to see shit. But for the ambient occlusion, for the macro, all you need is, or for base, all you need is the base texture. So we'll go get the new one we just got. Base color, but that's not going to work. Why isn't it going to work? Because it's not a high pass filter, but I'm going to do it anyway so you can see what it does. You'll know why you got to do it. Alright, and ambient occlusion. Those are the only ones you need. But you need the rest if you want it to look good. So don't get me wrong there. Don't take that the wrong way. You do need it to look good. But not to get by. To get by, all you need is ambient occlusion. And a base map. Now, do you see how that got all like that? That's too much red. You can just do 0.1, 0.1, so it's only giving you a little bit of that. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. You may find it look better like that. Or you may say, you know what, let me run the high pass filter on it and see how that does. Alright, so that's what we'll do. And we about done. I don't think I'm going to go back and fool with making the other maps in Blender. Or I may, hell, I don't know. Let me see. Let me try to get through this first. So that's the ground soil. We'll open that up in our photo editor and run a high pass filter on it. Filters, enhance, high pass. And I know somebody say, "Oh, I've seen that before." Yeah, you've seen it before. You probably just didn't really realize what it did. It just basically emphasizes the outlines of things. It doesn't really add any color other than a very slight tint. It doesn't add much. So we'll export this. We'll put a little HP for high pass. And JPEG's fine. You can't do DDS for terrain paints and PBR. Only JPEG and PNG. Now, I could have done JPEGs inside of Blender when I saved those I rendered, but I want the best possible quality for the terrain height map, and that'd be PNG. Leave the quality at 100 if you do JPEG. So now we can replace it with the high pass filter. Where did I not save it? Oh, there it is. And you'll see the difference it makes. You're probably thinking just what I'm thinking. That don't look good. Don't forget to put these back up to 1. And you may still say, you know what, that don't look that good. No, I agree with you, it don't. It don't look that good at all. It looks like crap, actually. I think it looked better with that one. Let's finish it. We got the macro normal and the macro roughness, so we'll stick those in and show you how that makes it look. All these matter, man. They all matter. They all contribute to the overall look. Oh, that was not the damn normal. We don't have a height map with those particular ones we download. They got like a displacement map, most of them. Some of them don't. You do a cavity map. Hell, it doesn't really make a shit difference really for the height map anyway. Now you can see what your other maps do to add to your terrain. They make a hell of a difference, don't they? That's your macro mapping. And of course, you see your base mapping when you're far away, and you get up close, you see your macro mapping. And if you want to scale the macro mapping to be larger or smaller, you could do that here. And then if you want to even get closer with even more detail, you can do another detail texture. You could use a different texture. It doesn't have to be this. You use something completely different for what you see when you're up close. But that's how that works. Now, let's see what the other one looked like. I might have to start trying that, man. That didn't look that half bad, did it? Huh. Well, what y'all think? I think it looks better myself. But it's all a matter of opinion. You know, it's really what it comes down to. What do you like? That's all that matters. We're going to save our level. Actually, no, I'm not going to save it. But I do want to take a quick drive on it. You know, you can't put the terrain in here without taking a quick test drive, you know. You know, we didn't make a height map. A height map is if you don't have it, it's gonna bug the shit out of you for it. But we didn't make a height map. Height map needs to be the same resolution as the main terrain. I'm gonna just probably use that as the height map. So I'm gonna resave it. Actually, I'm gonna make it more let me give it a little more contrast. You know what? Better yet, let's do it this way. White is flat like asphalt. Black is the softest ground possible. So just keep in mind what's white is going to be a specific depth, and every shade of gray in between will be different depths. Now, I haven't actually tried to make a height map like this. I don't know how it's going to do. We're going to see how it does. Now, the name of the your map, in this particular case, it's PBR. When you save it as shit, what is it? PBR dot height dot ter dot png, I think. Is that right? Let me check. Let me look at another level. Small island dot ter dot depth dot png. I can't spell for shit, can I? No, I'm not a spelling bee champ. If anybody was hoping so, well, you're gonna be disappointed because I ain't. All right, so it's shit. The name dot ter. Okay. No, it's dot depth. That's where the confusion's at. Dot .png. And we should be able to just rebuild collisions and it take effect. There may have already been a height map in here. I didn't even look. It would say it would be in here if it was. And it originally was Small Island. It probably does have one for Small Island. Yeah, Small Island depth map. Let's see now. I don't know. Shit, I can't tell. Probably make something out of that little rally track or something. It's not the best looking terrain, but it's kind of unique. You can make it better. You can add a lot of stuff to it. That's cool. Like, look, alien-like. All we need now is just a Firebird. You heard me right. A Firebird. A car that's the bird that has fire, that can fly and flap its wings. I wasn't kidding. I said Firebird. That's what it is. What it actually is, it's the new tornado. So where it goes, everything will be pulled to it like a tornado. It really wasn't supposed to be flying, but since I already made the mod of a flying car, I figured, well, you know why not? You should only have to press the thrusters to get it to go. But it doesn't have any steering since it's got wings. So it's just really just a quick prototype just to see how it will do. And all them parts to all the other cars, they seem to follow it. It was hard to see. It was hard to see before it had the fire. So I know it's not a great idea, but it does work. Except you wouldn't see a tornado do like that. It'd be moving kind of slower, I'm thinking. You know, something more like that. No, I'm going to pick a car to put it on. So it's actually got a car and not a car with wings. But it does look kind of cool, like flying across the map like an asteroid or something. Which gave me another idea. Why don't we just make an asteroid that, you know, an asteroid that crashes down. Lost control. Alright, back to what I was doing. Another plan. Let me see if I can render a normal map for the main map. To do that, we'll have to go to cycles and tell it to be a GPU render. And in here we need to basically make a mesh plane that's the exact same size as the square that our camera got earlier. Which that might be a little tricky. So let's get as close as possible. I don't have to worry about tiling because this thing isn't tiled at all. And we need to apply all transforms. We need to get that mesh plane kind of like, well, we can try it there, but we probably move it up a bit. Now we need to go to select the mountain and then hold shift and pick the plane we made. Make a new texture. Add an image. Texture image. We'll render it at 4K. It's got to be 4K since that's what the base texture is set to. No alpha channel. New image. Connect color to base color if you'd like. Then go over to here to bake. and tell it to bake the normal mapping, but use selected to active. Extrusion, well, that depends on how far that is. You want it to get all that, you need to account for that distance. I believe is what that actually is talking about. So yeah, hell, it's not even 1 meter, because remember we shrunk it down. So we can put a 1 here and be good. And then bake. And we should get a normal map from that. It'll show up right here. Damn it. I told it to render 4,096 samples at 4K. That's going to take a bit. It shouldn't take this long, though. Well, the game is running. Blender is not the problem. Close that. Yeah, I'm just going to end the video because I don't know what the hell's going on with it. But I'm probably trying to do too much stuff, got too much shit open. But that'd be how I'd render the normal mapping, and I'd save that and I'd apply that inside the game for that texture, the main texture's normal mapping. And then I would just render a roughness map. For the roughness map and ambient occlusion, well, you can bake that in here also. Ambient occlusion, roughness, normals. And you could technically render a height map using that shader. You just have to do 8-bit. There it goes. Taking a long time, man. Taking too long for what it's doing. Too long. Yeah, so hell with it. That's it for this one.